Imagine this. You just spilled coffee on yourself in front of someone you really wanted to impress.
Does your inner critic immediately jump in to dominate your inner monologue? Ugh, why did I just do that?
Do you find yourself reliving the moment of embarrassment over and over? Do you feel regret or maybe easily getting into a shame spiral?
Do you struggle with forgiving yourself? Or maybe you avoid heavy emotions only to have them bubble up later, like yelling at the cashier at the grocery store, or maybe a little bit of road rage?
Yeah. And do you sometimes feel like you're the only person that feels this way? Are you nodding your head yes right now? Keep listening for a dose of relief.
Guess what? We all feel this way from time to time. It's totally normal. On this podcast, we reveal the messy bits about ourselves without judgment. It's a space where we can reflect, grow, and process our experiences.
And maybe we can even laugh about our actions, attitudes, and behaviors, where we can speak about our past and learn from it.
So, are you longing for a life with less worry and more joy? Let's get started. Hello out there. Welcome to another episode of the Let's Relieve Regret podcast. My name is Victoria Miraburcia, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Hi, it's Shadow Ball.
And we are so excited because we have a return guest, our first return guest. So welcome to Louise Carr. Say hi.
Thank you for having me back.
We're so excited to have you back. Louise is I'm probably going to get this wrong, but a holistic nutritionist practitioner.
Yes.
Oh, did I say it right?
Certified holistic nutrition consultant.
Consultant, I was close.
Yeah, my
And she
designation.
specializes in women in perimenopause, menopause. She has a lot of amazing things to say, but not only that, she's just an awesome human being. She shared a story with us last time, about a year ago. I think it maybe was about a year ago now, about leaving her husband and worrying about her kids. Is that fair? Yeah. So that's a really great episode, and I encourage everybody to go back and listen to that episode, our first episode with Louise. So we're going to do a follow-up with Louise, and Louise has another story to share with us, which I think is going to be really fantastic because Louise always has great things to share. So welcome, Louise. We're so happy to have you back on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me back.
And as always, we start with the check-in. How's everybody feeling on a scale of 1 to 10 or with words? How are you feeling, Shadow?
I give myself about a 7 today. Like, come see, come saw, like I feel okay. There's nothing really paining me, but there's also nothing like lighting my fire. I mean, yeah, I'm lit by being here, but nothing has lit my fire yet today.
Interesting. How are you feeling, Louise?
I'm about a 9 today.
Nice.
Yes, but I've been working on it all week.
Okay.
Like self-care week or getting things done
No,
week,
just
or...
working on getting back to stuff that supports me, like journaling every day and spending time on my insight timer, doing a little bit of meditation every day. Last night, I turned everything off and just listened to music. So didn't start the week here, but I have been trying to get here. Yeah.
You know what's really interesting about that? I love synchronicity, or when like you hear people say things and it's kind of like how you're feeling too, or you have aha moments or those moments of connection. So I'm a 6. I think maybe I'm a 5 and maybe an 8 at the same time, and I'll explain why. So
Okay.
the week that you just had, Louise, I think I need one of those weeks. So I had a bit of an aha moment yesterday. I think I'm depressed.
Oh no.
But the thing about depression is like you can feel more than one thing at the same time. You have like a lingering kind of feeling in the background, but you can also feel happy. So I don't know if I'm depressed or if it's like my rejection sensitivity dysphoria or what, but I realized that I've had a lot of structure change on me in the past month. And this might sound like such a silly thing, but it's not to me. So the cafe that I used to take my daily walk to every day, and I'd start my daily walk, and then I'd meet my barista Lisa there, and then we'd have a chat. They shut down about 3 weeks
Oh,
ago.
Oh
So I haven't
no.
been going on my daily walks as often because that is kind of what drove me to go
Mm.
on my daily walks and that connection with the baristas that worked there. And then I've also
oh.
recently found out that I have a prolapsed bladder, which means I can't do any heavy lifting. So I've stopped going to the gym and just been walking
Mm.
and lifting with light dumbbells. Um, and then also like rowing season's been kind of weird this summer. I mean, I've only been going out once or twice a week, and usually I go out 5 times a week because there's just a lot going on with people racing in smaller boats and they don't need a coxie and things like that. But so those three things I think really took structure away from me that I have, and I didn't realize how important structure is to me, and I've been feeling down. And I've been
Mm.
feeling isolated, and I think I've been isolating myself. So like underneath, I'm kind of like a 5 out of 10, but like today, I just went and jumped in the lake, and I'm so happy to see Louise, and I'm so happy to see you, Shadow. So like I'm an 8, but like underneath, I'm a 5. So I'm kind of like feeling two
Right.
things at the same time. So I think I need a week, yeah, like you just said, Louise, where I just really bring myself back to me. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to the cottage on my annual like girls' week with all of my best friends.
Mm.
So I'm
Nice.
hoping that'll be like really healing too. But I think I just need to focus on some healing. Yeah. So and
Hmm.
recording the podcast is always healing. So here we are. Thanks
Mhm.
for listening.
I think you've lost two very big parts of yourself, Victoria, in the cafe and in the working out. And it's understandable that don't feel grounded
Yeah,
at the
I've lost
current
something
time.
that grounded me.
Yeah,
That's exactly it. So now
yeah,
I'm like, okay, I need to build structure for myself again.
yeah.
The like go-getter part of me is like, that's it. Monday morning, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna work out on my own. Like, and then you make all these goals
Mm.
and then you can't do them because when you're feeling
Mm-hmm.
depressed, like motivation's an issue. So I'm like, how do I like ease myself back in and find a
Mm-hmm.
different structure and find another cafe that I can go to or find different ways to do things. So I guess I'm on a bit of like a journey of like rediscovering like another structure for myself, which is really
Mm-hmm.
weird for me in the middle of the summer because for me, like fall is kind of the time to do that when the
Right.
seasons change. So it's kind of
Yes.
that's also like put me off is that like, okay, I have to like make a shift kind of in the middle of summer and my brain isn't ready for that. Like I like
Yeah.
making shifts with
Mm.
the season. So I'm I'm gonna say like I'm struggling a bit, not a lot, but I'm struggling a little bit. So here we are. Yeah. But you're
Aw.
right. You're right, Louise. Like, yeah, I need to find something to ground me. So I think that'll be like my I'll report back next time we record. That'll be my
Right.
I'm gonna do a little bit of work on myself. So yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to me and thank you for making this place listeners and you guys a
Mm.
safe place where I can talk about these things because as you know, one of my missions in life is to stop any stigma around any type of mental illness that it's life's like you move through life with them. Life doesn't get put on hold, or sometimes it does, and that's okay too. But figuring out my next strategy or my next set of structure, I guess. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I'm at.
Losing the cafe is devastating. It's always upsetting when we lose a small business in our community, but also shout out to the sweet treats in that place. I
Louise
have
has been to the cafe with me.
I've been there. My mood dropped just hearing that
Yeah.
Yeah.
that Torres has
It's too
gone.
bad.
So,
Oh, I'm very
wow.
sad that Tori's Bake Shop is gone. Yeah,
Yes. And it
very
was
sad.
part of your everyday. Yeah.
For years, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, the message is like the little connections matter too, not just the big
Really do.
connections, right? Like that little
Yeah.
Mhm.
my tea every day, the little things matter too. So on that
Mhm.
note, anybody have a cause for applause?
I can jump right in. My cause for applause is that I am back in my apartment. My apartment flooded on Canada Day. Well, actually, the night before Canada Day, but anyway. And I'm now back in. And part of coming back in is that I'm like, being a little bit more adventurous with like how I decorate. So I've painted
Ooh.
my walls for like for the first time in this room anyway. I've never painted in here before, but now like they have to come in and replace the floors anyway. They just did the baseboards, and I went, okay, this is the time. So I went to my favorite local hardware store. It's called Rot Blots,
Mm-hmm.
and they're amazing. They have a whole section upstairs where they have mist tints. Like people bought a gallon of paint, they didn't like it, they brought it back. So I went and picked a very bright, saturated blue that I'm
Wow.
really loving. And it's just been really fun to kind of like be physical and like paint the room and just kind of rebuild. I was happy with how the room was set up before, but this is just making it like more intentional, and I'm just like really happy about this change.
I find a dark color like grounds a room almost.
Mhm.
Like it's a dark blue. If anybody's seeing this on video, it's a dark blue and it grounds it, right? Like I love it.
Yeah.
I think a color on a wall grounds a room in a good
Mhm.
way. So it depends if you want to feel
Mhm.
grounded or you want to feel like light and free,
Yeah,
right? So
for
like in
sure.
my living room, it's white, it's light and free, and then here in my office, I've got like this blue, like something. I like it. That's a good cause for
Yeah.
applause. Yay, fun with paint.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Rob Blotz because I bought many a gallon of paint there too back in the day when we were
Yeah.
first starting out, just like $5 gallon of paint.
Yeah.
What
It's up to like
magic
$20
color. I'm
now,
sure
but
it is. I'm talking
still
about in the
like
early 2000s, it was like
yeah.
$5, now it's 20,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I mean, I did look around some other places, and you're looking at 90 to $100 for like
Yeah.
a standard gallon of paint. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the 80% discount that I
Yeah.
got on. And again, I wasn't too choosy about color. I had kind of like a like two or three very similar colors in mind, because again, you have to take what you can get with a mist tint. So yeah, happy that it happened that way.
What about you, Luis? Do you have a cause for applause?
I'm going to go with this what I said earlier that I started the week on a at about a
Mm,
4 or a 5 and ended the week on a 9. So
that's great.
um I'm going to go with that. Just the turning off the noise this week and tuning in. This afternoon, I am booked to go to the Nordic Spa for cold plunge and sauna
Ooh,
on Friday
nice.
afternoon. So I've had that to look forward to all of this
I
week.
Hmm.
love the Nordic
And
spa.
so, yeah, so I kind of set myself up to this crescendo, and I'll put that as the cause for applause. Yeah.
That's a good cause for applause.
Yeah, I have a question. When you were talking about like journaling, do you use any prompts, or are you just free flow? Like,
Mhm.
I'm just free flowing.
nice. Yeah, that's
I'm in
great.
therapy, so I have a gazillion prompts, and I would say
Right.
coming out of therapy on Monday was I was low
Mm,
and overwhelmed and felt like I have so much more to do. And
mhm.
so really this week was just about showing myself that I could be here for myself, which is something
Nice.
I couldn't do in the past. I was just there for everyone else, but not myself. So I could
Mhm.
demonstrate that. Look how far you've come. And just generally went free flow on my feelings about the session on Monday and got a lot more clarity and also made a big decision.
Mhm.
So yes, that yeah, free
That's
flow.
great. Yeah, free
But
flow. Yeah.
the prompts are there. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a
yeah,
free flow journaler as well. I'll seek out a prompt if I really need one, but when I was in like writing classes, we would start every class with like 20 minutes of free flow writing. And the teacher always said, like, if you don't know what to write, just keep writing. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to
yeah,
write. I don't know what to write, because as soon as the hand starts moving, like intuitively something will come out.
yeah,
Or just draw like a flower in the corner, just something to get like the juices
yeah.
flowing, and then it usually just pours out of you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And something I return to over and over again is I feel. Because the majority
Mm.
of my life, I've had real difficulty connecting with my own feelings and emotions
Mm-hmm.
and been more of a mirror for everyone around me. So I don't actually really know at all what I feel. So if I start with I feel and then I'm like, it's a real struggle sometimes, but
Yeah.
I'm forced to tune in, and that's always good practice for me. And if I get that sentence out, I feel like I've achieved a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
I
In
great.
that moment, I know exactly how I feel, and I'm allowed to write down all of the embarrassing and negative and petty emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that I can just vomit all of that out, and it is free, and I don't judge it, and I feel a lot healthier afterwards.
Amazing.
that's a good sales pitch for journaling. I don't journal a lot, but when I do, it's free flow. But the same thing, like Shadow, what you're saying is, I think you can have a lot of aha moments when you're journaling or when you're talking to yourself or when you're listening to your inner monologue. And you just
Mm-hmm.
have to start. So I love that idea of like, I don't know what to write, or you start doodling and then you just start to let that inner monologue go on that piece of paper. And oftentimes you can go back and read it and be like, oh, I know what to do now. Or, oh, that was an aha moment or a breakthrough for me. There's a lot of like self-realization. So
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I was going to ask you, what about you, Victoria? Do you have a cause for applause?
Yeah, I mean, my cause for applause is that I got out of bed today and I went for a swim
Great.
before we started
Yeah.
recording. So it's a simple one. I'm have to go back to the basics and start focusing on simple things. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and having that like moment with myself sitting down by the beach today and priorities, right? And I
Mm.
know what my priorities are, but sometimes they get out of whack, right? And my number one priority always, but I forgot, is my mental health. Like nothing's more important than my mental health. I can't help others if I don't look after my mental health. I can't be in good relationship with my friends, with Christian, with whatever, if I don't look after my mental health. And I think I've been doing a little bit of people pleasing and a little bit of over giving and a little bit of focusing too much on the emotional need of like being of service
Mm-hmm.
and maybe feeling important too. I don't know. And I need to come back and like look at some other things on the emotional health spectrum. We've talked about the emotional health spectrum or emotional needs a lot on this podcast. If you're a new listener and you don't know what they are, we have a great video that talks about the 6 basic emotional needs. We'll put that in the show notes today. And that can be a really eye-opening experience too when you learn what your 6 basic emotional needs are. So we'll make sure we put that in the show notes today if there's new listeners out there. Or there's also a mini episode called, I think the mini-sode is called 6 emotional needs. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
good one. It's a 10-minute listen. So, all right, are we ready, everybody? Are we ready to relieve regret? That's what we're here for. We're here to, make everybody listening and those of us on the call just understand and feel connected in our human experience and that everybody has these things, these feelings, these regrets and it's normal to feel these things and it's also really good to talk it out. So that's what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Shadow's gonna go first.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you,
ready.
do you have a preemptive thing you'd
No,
like to share before? Or you just want to get into
no,
it?
just gonna get right into it because it's a bit of a longer one. Again, it's similar to the journaling thing. Once I started writing about this, I didn't realize how much I had. And so I actually had to go back and edit it down a little. And it's still a bit longer than some of the other ones. So, uh, yeah, I have an experience I need to let go of in order to move forward. I regret believing that I needed to be good at video games in order to be cool. As a young girl, I was really good at the original Nintendo and I put so many hours into it. Then Sega came along and oh man, you could not pull me away from Sonic. Like it was one of those like classic things where if my mom was like, "Get ready for dinner," I'm like, "One more level." So you know, uh, but then around the time the PlayStation came out, I I wasn't good at it anymore. There was like too many buttons on the controller. I like my hand doesn't like I don't have enough hand-eye coordination or something. I don't understand PlayStation. I don't understand Xbox. So I kind of stopped caring about it, um because like when I would play, I would just get really frustrated and upset because like it's really not fun to just keep losing over and over and over again. And I didn't have the emotional regulation to just like be cool with that. So then I was like, well, no, I'm not going to do it. And like I think this is tied to something we talked about like way back in season 1, when talked about how like I regret that I went through this like I'm not like other girls phase. But I really do think that that's something a lot of women go through. And I think it's because, like, in the media landscape, like women are mostly written by men. And there's like two options put forward. You're either a cool girl or you're like a nagging bitch, right? And when you don't fit neatly into either of these categories, I think it's natural to believe that, like, oh, I'm not like other girls, or girls are too much drama. I'm one of the boys. And of course, being one of the boys means that you're good at video games. Now, I say all of this thinking that I had already pushed through all of this. Like I had developed my sense of self. I really don't think there's any woman who fits into like the stereotypes that are presented to us. The consequence is that it turns out I was still holding on to this belief. I really allow my like not being good at video games to shape how I show up in my partnership. Sometimes I choose to play the games even though I know I won't enjoy it, or I have him like monopolize the TV and then I kind of pout and do my own thing beside him because again, we don't have enough space for both of us to be doing something. That just leads to him not enjoying it. So that's not an enjoyable thing for either of us. And so when I really started to think about it, I realized that I've put a lot of emphasis on this because when my husband and I first started dating, the Nintendo Wii was brand new. Like we both had a Wii, and even though it came after PlayStation, I was actually really good at the Nintendo Wii. I loved Wii Sports. I loved all the new Mario games. I was really impressed that I could like use the controller intuitively instead of pressing buttons because like you lift the controller to jump and you turn the controller to churn and like loved it. And when we first started dating, we both had a Wii. And then like we moved in together and we had a Wii in like the bedroom and a Wii in the in the living room. Like we literally had two of them. And then when we upgraded to the Wii U, definitely still a lot of fun for both of us. In fact, like with the Wii U, we played this one game so much that we wanted to have like a randomizer for it, but it wasn't built into the game. So I took it upon myself to make like a physical card deck of every level so that we could like pull the card from the deck and that's how we would play random with the Super Mario Bros game. Then we upgraded to the Switch. It didn't work for me. The controllers were too small. I couldn't play the games I used to play on the Wii U. Like I could, but I wasn't good at it again. And it brought all that old feelings of like, oh man, I'm not cool. I'm not cool enough to be with my husband. I'm not a cool girl. I can't spend time with him the way he wants to spend time. And this also like caused other behavior, like a lot of like reassurance seeking and lots of things like that. Or I would just play and not really enjoy it. I didn't really know that I was doing this until in the last month or so, we got a Switch 2. And it turns out the Switch 2 is awesome. I'm actually like loving playing with the Switch 2. The controllers work for my hand better. I'm loving the new Mario Kart game. I feel like a kid again playing it. Like it's so fun. And then it was kind of when the aha moment came where I was like, "Oh man, I have been faking it. I have been faking enjoying playing video games for like 4 years because now that I'm actually enjoying it, I can really see how much I was just kind of like going through the motions before." And again, I think it's tied to this idea that I want to be cool, and to be cool is to be good at video games. So I'm realizing now that like I I I need to let go of the idea that to be cool is to be good at video games, obviously. But I also need to forgive myself for like falling into that belief because it was like a tool I had at the time to like, connect with my partner and feel good with the time we spent together. So I'm growing and I do recognize that like when the next console comes out, I might not enjoy it as much again. And that will be okay. Because right now, I'm just really excited to enjoy how I'm playing it right now. And being aware of how this pattern plays out will hopefully protect me if that were to happen again, because I do feel worthy to ask for hobbies that aren't tied directly to what I think he would like. So I'm working on feeling worthy of asking for our time to be spent in ways I enjoy too, without faking it, without anything like that. So yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of a longer one. It's a little bit weird because it's not like I even regret the time spent playing video games I don't enjoy. It's just it's so interesting how my persona is so wrapped up in trying to be cool. I'm very, very into the idea that I'm cool. Like, I wish I could give it up, but this is just another way it kind of influences my behavior. So that's it.
Thank you for sharing. Did you want feedback or did you just want to vent and be heard?
We could do a bit of feedback, but I'm really excited to hear what Louise wants to say. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I can see Louise. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I can see Louise. So, Louise, do you want to give feedback?
Well, it was niche for sure,
Yeah.
Shadow. I don't play any video games, but I was just super interested to hear the learning journey that you're on, that you
Mm,
had somehow transferred your self-worth and into the video games, and that
mm,
you recognize that being cool is so huge for you. For me, I just wanted to reflect back that the coolest part of all of that story, I think you are so cool that
oh,
you made the
thank you.
little randomized deck. The
Mhm,
coolest part was your creativity in all of that.
mhm, mhm,
And that bit to me, the melding of the video games with like old school paper and pens.
mhm, mhm.
Wow, I thought that was so cool that
Yeah,
that
it was,
aspect of
yeah.
your creativity. You're so much more than the video games.
Mhm. I mean, I think it was either like a Valentine's Day gift or a wedding or an anniversary gift, I mean, and it was when we had regular Wii and we were playing the Super Mario Bros. Game till it, like, broke basically. Like, it just we were both obsessed with it. We would tie all the time. Like, we had all these different ways of playing the tournaments, the coin battles. Like, we were obsessed. But yeah, and I would do it secretly at night because I printed them on like two sides of like cardstock, and then I like glued them together, and then
Oh
I
my
cut them,
gosh,
and
that's
like
amazing.
it was a whole
Oh,
thing. And then they were in a cute little box, and I still have the cute little box, even though we don't play that version of the coin bot battle game anymore. But it was like really fun. And then it was really funny, like when we got an upgraded game again before the Switch, but after the regular Wii. We were looking through them and we realized that like I had missed one level. So like we had been playing
Ooh.
with these cards forever, being like, "Oh, I don't think we've ever played this level," or like, "What? It's so weird how this level never comes up." So then we went through them and put them in order and went, "Oh, we don't have a card for that one." Again, it's like this form of embarrassment for me too, I guess, because like, I've got kind of the nerdy look too, right? Like I've got glasses, I've got long wavy hair, I'm a little bit chunky, so like of course I'm good at video games.
Yeah, do you think it was like a persona that you created for yourself to be cool?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I think because again, I have very low self-esteem in most areas, but that was like kind of like a shortcut, especially when Ben and I first started dating. Like it was like we both had it and we both played it all the time, and like
Hmm.
we connected over it so much. So
Can I ask a curious question? Have you told Ben this?
yeah, yeah. No, we talk about this all the
And
time.
and what
Yeah.
was his response?
He
Y-
always just reassure me that like, oh my gosh, no, like we can play whatever, we can play a card
Yeah.
game, or
And
like
did you believe him when he said that, or in your mind were you still like, no, he doesn't think I'm cool because I can't play video games?
Oh yeah, definitely the second one. I because he's cool, right? Like he's cool and he's sweet. He'll tell me what he thinks I need to hear in order to be reassured. So, it's hard to like it's sweet to hear those things, but then it's hard to believe those
It's
things
hard
over
to believe
time
those
too.
things. Yeah. So like what
So,
came up for me when you were talking was like the difference between being cool.
mhm.
So the difference between to be cool, to be loved, and to
Mm,
be worthy.
right.
And I think like the video game represents all of those things for
Mm,
you.
mhm.
And I think many of us have things. So for like my generation, how many years older am I than you? Like six
Like
or seven?
5?
Five?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's more than that, but
Okay.
so I grew up on like this small street, and me and my sister and this other girl, Alana, that lived across the street were the only girls. And it was
Mm,
like this real community. Like every house on the street or kind of in the neighborhood pretty much had kids the same age. So we were all within like 3 to 4 years of each other. And then there was like a few houses that was like the elders of the street that were living there. So it was great. But anyways, and for me it was sport, right?
mm,
It wasn't video games. It was sport. So it was playing ball hockey on the street or playing my friend Scott, hi Scott, if you're listening. My friend
mhm,
Scott had a basketball net on top of his garage. And so it was like basketball, or it was uh, we did badminton on the street, we did street hockey,
mhm.
we did all those things, right? And for me it was like I'm a tomboy, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'm a tomboy and I fit in. And then, like as we all kind of grew up, I learned that they loved me anyways, right? But
Right.
it was like this thing as we grew up together. But I remember being younger as a kid, and it was like I thought that was my only value with these
Mm,
boys who
mhm.
turned into men. And now, like, as we're, older and I still connected to many of them, like, no, we just accept each other for who we are. But that's like
Yeah.
it's a big learning curve, right? Like the difference between
Mhm,
why do we want to be cool? We want to be cool because we want to be loved. And why do we want to be loved? We want to be loved so that we can feel worthy. And
mhm,
figure, and it kind of goes along with like what we were talking about the journaling at the beginning. Like, how do you feel worthy? And so for
mhm.
you, it's video games, but it could be so many things. But I think one of the key things, the other thing that came up for me when you were talking was this idea of girls and women feeling worthy dependent on boys and men.
Mhm.
And you made a really good point. You said that in the media, so like a lot of TV shows, a lot of women's, even books, I look out for this.
Mhm.
Female characters are written by men. I find it really interesting when I'm reading a book and then I'm like, wait, is this author male or female? Right?
Mhm.
And you made a really good point about, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said like there's either like the mean girl stereotype or there's the like, I'm cool and I will do whatever the boys think is cool in order to be accepted.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's not really a great thing to perpetuate, right? Like we can have friendships between different genders
Mhm.
and just see each other as human beings, but we're not really teaching that to young girls and young boys,
Yep.
young adults that are young men and young women. And then we have a whole generation that I would say is like 35 and above that didn't get taught that at all. That is us
Mhm.
here on this call about what did I have to do to be cool under the male gaze or the boy's gaze or the boy's
Mhm.
opinion. So I think you brought up a really good point there too. And I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that we like highlighted that point that you made there too. Is really interesting.
Yeah, I think yeah, no, I think that that's just like, you're watching TV and, even like regular family-based sitcoms, like there's the wife and she's always nagging and she's not fun.
Hmm.
So you could either be that or you could be fun.
And
You
who
know?
wrote the nagging
Like
wife, right? Was it
yeah,
a male writer that
exactly.
wrote the
Yeah.
character of the nagging wife?
Mhm. hmm But then there's also things where, like, in a lot of children's media, even when the characters are animals and not people, because that's very frequent
Mm.
in children's media, a lot of times there'll be like four different characters and then the girl. Have you
Yeah, I
like,
mean, we grew
yeah,
up
you
with the
know what I mean? Like,
Smurfs. Why is
yeah,
there only
see,
one Smurfette?
yeah, or
I
even with
really
like the
want to
Ninja
know.
Turtles. Like with the Ninja Turtles, there's really only April O'Neil, and she's cool and she's interesting and she's the person. Like where the but those are four male turtles. So then I think like men get this opportunity to kind of explore who they are through these role models, and there's four of them to choose from. And those are still very tight boxes, and we shouldn't just like, be a Donatello or Leonardo or whoever you were from the Ninja Turtles. I was a Mikey. But like it trains women to either see themselves in the boys or like see themselves as the girl and feel like, well, I guess I'm not like other
I'm the
girls because
girl.
I'm not that one girl who's in this show. And again, of course, we should be making sure that people find their self-worth outside of television and outside of their media consumption. Of course, of course, of course.
But
But
that's
I
the
think there's
introduction to
also,
most of it,
yeah,
right? We're watching, like,
exactly.
for us, it was like, when you said that, for me, immediately Winnie the Pooh came up. How
Sure.
many female characters, animals are there in Winnie the Pooh? There's Roo,
Mhm.
or Roo's mom. Roo was the kid. Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Is
I
Roo's
think
mom the only
Rabbit
female?
is kind of
Panda.
like non-binary maybe. Like Rabbit could really be either way.
But
But
really, and then I'm thinking like Peppa
yeah.
Pig. I'm thinking like what kids are watching now.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of what my nieces and nephews are watching. Paw Patrol. Like how many of them are females? Yeah, it's a really good
Mhm.
point. And that's like our
Yeah. Yeah.
introduction, really, right?
Mhm. Like, I loved the show Arthur, when it was out, and I was a little too old for it, but, like, my brother loved it. We watched it every morning before school. So I'm still very familiar with all the characters, and again, there was, like, 2 of the main crew, there was 1 girl, and she was a tomboy, and she
Mhm.
liked sports, and she liked doing things that Arthur liked, and then, the only other kinda main girl was Muffy, and she was rich and prissy and didn't like getting dirty and, like, that really really only gives you those two options. You can either be like prissy and not fun, or you can be fun. And like if those are the only two options you're given, I think there's just like, at
You
least for
fall
me,
into them.
you fall into them and you fall for me, I fell into the fun. And but then that became its own little cage of like, can't enjoy girly things. Pink is gross. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like getting dirt. I don't like not getting dirty. I love getting dirty. Like, like it really, and again, I'm not saying men are the problem or women are the problem or media is the problem. Just, I'm trying to become a more complete person, and I'm looking at like all the different influences that have led to the behaviors I have. And I can't help but look at some of my media consumption habits and be like, oh, this is where I developed this part of my personality or not.
No matter how much we want to believe that we're in control, I say this so often, and I need to
Mm,
remind myself of this too. Like the subconscious brain is in control 99% of the time. And what
mhm,
you feed it matters, and what it was fed in your developmental years really matters,
mhm,
right? So
mhm,
the brain is so easily brainwashed, honestly, so easily brainwashed.
mhm,
And when we have that knowledge, we can use it to I mean, I'm being a little facetious here using the word brainwashed, but like
mhm,
we can use that knowledge to brainwash ourselves in a good way towards what we want. But we need to
mhm,
acknowledge how easily influenced the brain is towards biases, towards stereotypes. Like it's so, so easy at any age to influence that brain, and becoming aware of it's like really important. Louise, I see you
mhm,
nodding your head a lot. Do you want to add?
Well, something that struck me because I'm 58 is I grew up in the 70s and we were on the street on our bikes and in nature. And we wore brown and orange, whether we were male or female, and
Yeah.
rainbows before they meant any message. Like you would have, everyone had a rainbow sweater or even striped pants. I don't know, corduroy. Um, but we had no option to be cool.
Mm.
We were children. We were just, you cannot be,
Yes.
we couldn't be cool. We were just kids and kind of, I'm from Gen X, so we kind of like out in the morning and don't come back till tea time or supper time. There was an element of neglect to what happened in our childhood, but there were no options for what you could be. You were
Mm.
just a kid, and that is what you were. You weren't anything else except a kid. And just listening to you talk, there's something incredibly freeing about that. We had a lot of media that was very stereotypical coming out of the 50s and 60s. But yeah, we never had the option to be cool. I would never.
Mm.
It's so interesting to hear you say, well, I just wanted to be cool. And I think back to my childhood and I'm like, huh?
Right.
What would that even look like? I mean, I guess it looked like Grease when Grease came out, and you could be
Mm.
Sandy at the
Mm.
beginning of the movie or Sandy at the end of the movie.
That's such a good example.
But I was 16 when that came out. Up until throughout the whole of my childhood, I was being a horse, or we were being a gang,
Mm.
or we were
Mm.
conquering new country on our bikes. And yeah, that's what we were doing rather than being cool. So it's really
Mhm.
super. And I think it's capitalism that is to blame. Like,
Yeah, it's a
okay,
big part of it.
let's create all these identities. And it was really late 80s, 90s that the ladette came out. I can drink as much as the guys. I'm cool. I'm
Mhm.
fun. I'm
Mhm.
chill with any of this behavior. But
What
yeah.
did you said ladette? What's ladette?
Lot.
We
Yeah.
we had that in the UK, a ladette. We
What
had
is
a
that?
number of women that were identified as ladettes.
What
So
does that
they
mean?
hang with the guys, they drink as much as
Party
the
girl.
guys, they're Sienna
Okay.
Miller in Kate Moss. Like we
Okay.
had a whole range of Amanda de Cadenet, she was on TV, and they were, yeah,
So they could like keep up with the guys kind of thing.
Yeah.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
Yeah,
ladettes,
okay.
absolutely.
and
And
they
I
are
was,
cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
And
never heard that
but
that
term.
shadow, that's you.
That's you.
Because
I'm not. That's the thing. Because I want to be so badly. Because I was like 13 in '99, so I
yeah,
saw this on Much Music, MTV,
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
Comic.
that's right. Yeah,
Like I was spending again, I'm lucky that I also still grew up in like the bike riding times, because I don't see kids riding bikes in my neighborhood when I go home now, but I rode my bike everywhere. I rode it to the park, I rode it to the other, and again with the boys. I was the only
mhm,
girl because
Yeah.
that's how all the groups like happened, I guess. But then yeah, then I would like spend my paper route money on magazines, and that's I would see exactly what you're saying. Like yeah, like I wanted to be this like really cool girl. And then similarly, this is a regret I've already linked to before, but like I started drinking really heavily at like 14, and now I can't even sniff alcohol without getting sick.
yeah,
So like, there was just this like, and I think it's also, it's so embarrassing to say, I think it was more accessible than trying to be pretty, because like I already knew that as a larger girl who wears glasses, that like oh, fellas don't make passes at lasses who wear glasses, right? Like that was
Oh
something
my
I was
gosh, I've
all
never heard that before.
oh yeah. That's something I've heard since I was like single digits.
Wow.
um
wow,
and
Like from
it
your
just became,
parents?
yeah, and other people.
Oh,
that's
um
toxic.
but yeah, like so I think it was becoming so much, it was I was seeing more and more proof that I was never going to be the pretty girl. So the cool girl was something I could actually achieve. Like drinking a lot, being good at video games, like having a foul mouth, being really quick with a burn, like all that kind of stuff like protected me, because then it was like, well, I don't care about being pretty because I'm cool.
Yeah.
Though secretly I did still really just want to be pretty, which is also just so embarrassing to
so
be
can I
like
ask a curious
almost
question?
40 and think that way. Yeah, Victoria.
What do you want now?
I still just want to be fucking pretty. Honestly, I
Okay.
would give up so much to just be conventionally attractive. And it's embarrassing.
It's not
It's
embarrassing. You
super
know, I was saying like how easy the brain is influenced. That like
embarrassing.
it's that influence is often beyond our control unless we, really do some deep acknowledgement work, which is what we're doing here.
Mhm. Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
um, again, that's what I'm saying. Like the subconscious brain is in control 99% of the time. I get that you say you're embarrassed about it, but like, thank you for being honest about like what you want, because let's be honest,
Mhm.
like that's the biases and the programming that's been put into our brains that I'm finding like in the business I'm in, and Louise, you can probably agree, and Shadow too, in the business you're in too, like 35 and above, like so many women, 35, 40, 50, 60, so many women are now saying, wait a minute, I want to come into my own now. I want to like get rid of those things, which is exactly what you're saying right now. And I
Mhm.
think like it's an interesting kind of shift that's happening that I'm seeing in the work I'm doing, but I that I'm just seeing in society in general. And but that shift is happening in the 35 plus. That shift is not happening in young girls and teenagers and girls in their
Mhm.
20s, but that shift is
Mhm.
happening that goes, hey, wait, like I want to get rid of these biases and programs and inner monologue and inner critic and all these sorts of things. So yeah, I just want to thank you for being like really honest, because I
Mhm.
think we all need to hear that honesty so that we don't feel alone. Like we all think and judge ourselves inside our all women. Let's be, I mean,
Yeah.
I might be being a generalizer here, but like I think most women judge themselves inside their head. And I think most women also would be embarrassed to admit that they want to be pretty, right? Like be like, well, because I know it's like that. It can almost go like the pendulum can almost swing like in the entire opposite direction. So there's like this like I want to be
Mhm.
pretty, and then they're like, no, I'm a strong woman and I shouldn't want to be pretty because I'm a strong woman, and that's the stereotype that I want
Mhm.
to be, and I don't care what other people think, whatever. And like
Yeah.
it's in the middle, man. Like listen to the
Yeah.
voices in your head, right?
Mhm.
Like listen to them. And so I want to thank you for being really honest. I want to be pretty too.
But you are, so you
And
don't
so
have to
are
worry about
you.
it.
And so
Yeah,
are
No.
I do.
you. And so
No.
are you.
Yeah, I know I am a 58-year-old woman, but I find you conventionally very beautiful, Shadow.
But that's because you guys know
Just
me.
say
It's a
thank
different
you. Just
thing.
say thank you.
But
Just say thank you.
no, I understand.
Your
I
I
understand.
love the
smile,
compliment.
your eyes, your
But that's
hair,
it's also you guys are like,
conventionally, you're very beautiful. And the other
yeah.
thing that radiates from you, and I've told you this in the past, I don't
Mhm.
want to kind of go into it too much now, but you have an incredible power.
Mm.
And I believe, I believe you have a superpower, and at the moment, you're hiding from it.
Mm. Yeah.
I agree.
All right.
But she's not hiding. Like the fact that Shadow comes out and does this podcast, like she's
The fact
she's
that she's
she's
so vulnerable today in everything she's told us. Oh my
You're both
God.
so sweet because I honestly don't feel like I'm trying to be vulnerable. Like I'm still like I feel
But
like
you
I'm
don't
still
have to
holding
try.
back a
That's like
little
part
bit.
of it. You don't have to try. That's part of
That's
it,
why it's
right?
a
Like you are a human
superpower.
being.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why. And that's why I think you're so amazing on this podcast, and I could never do it without you. And I'm so grateful that you're my
Mhm.
co-host, because you have an ability to be incredibly human.
Thank
And I think
you.
that's what's attractive. And I think that's what's
Mhm.
makes people worthy and lovable and all of those
Mhm.
things, right? So
Mhm.
plus you're pretty.
Well, thank you both for that. We've really explored all dimensions
Shadow's
of this.
uncomfortable now, everybody, so she's
No, it's
segueing.
not. I'm not segueing.
But we can segue.
I want our listeners to hear what Louise has to say as well. I don't want
Yeah.
to just, yeah, I don't want people to get bored.
So segueing. But yeah, thank you, Shadow, for sharing that, because I think it's really powerful. Yeah, and honest. And let's be honest, it's okay to say you want to be pretty. It's okay to say you want to be worthy. It's okay to say you want to be loved. It's okay to say all these things. It's okay to admit your regrets. It's okay to say,
Mhm.
I put my value in playing videos, and now I'm gonna take my value away from playing videos and find somewhere else to like compare what my value is to, or find another way to feel valued. And so I think that's a huge shift.
And
Yeah.
also ask for other things I want to do too that bring me
Mm,
joy.
mhm.
Yes. Yeah, good
Yeah.
point, Louise.
I'm going
Good
to
point.
ask for what I want.
Yep.
Yep.
And you're allowed to. You
Yep.
are allowed to. So thank you for that share.
Thank you for
Louise, are you
listening.
ready for your share?
Yes.
Do you have like anything preemptively you want to say before you share it or anything to explain it?
I have a regret. I want to relieve it.
Okay, let's go.
I'll just get into it now.
Perfect.
Yes. So the regret that I want to relieve is again clinging onto an identity or clinging onto a part inside of myself that I've always been so proud of and always relied on. And that is the cheerleader part of myself. I find it really helpful to think. I used to think I was just me, but I find it really helpful to think of my parts and the different aspects of myself now. And that also helps me to see the full spectrum of my personality instead of rendering myself down. And inside of me, I've had this cheerleader for all of my life. And she keeps me going. She helps me to push through. She's very rah, rah, rah. You can do it. You are strong. You can get through this. You can manage this. You can juggle this. You're exhausted, but you can still do this. And so I've always been very grateful to have this cheerleader inside of me. And I spent 25 years of my life inside what I now know is quite a toxic marriage with characterized by covert narcissistic abuse. And my cheerleader kept me going through all of this. That was a long time to spend in that place. And it's now, years after I've left that place, that I begin to see that the cheerleader, whilst in the moment it is helpful to push through, no matter what your own personal feelings are, or no matter how exhausted you are, or no matter how much you have on your plate, what would have served me better was to let that piece, that part of me go and relax into failing to get everything done, relax into not achieving everything for everyone else all of the time, relax into not being able to cope, and just let go. And I spent all of my life not able to do that. And at the same time, building up this part of myself that was helping me to cope with things that I should never have had to push through and cope with. So I kind of put on a pedestal this part of myself that was negatively keeping me in a bad place because I always managed to push my own emotions down. I always managed to get everything done. I always managed to be everything for everyone. And then I patted myself on the back, and the cheerleader inside of me was happy that she'd managed to cheer me through again. Um, and I'm realizing my personal growth is in putting down this very precious part of myself that I've relied on for so many years. And it's so hard to rewire that, especially when you get that element of praise. You did it. You did it. Letting go of that is hard too.
Thank you for that. This perspective is very interesting. But before I say anything, would you like feedback or do you just want to be heard?
Yes, I'm open to feedback, especially Shadow. It's her superpower.
Yeah, Shadow was writing a lot. So, Shadow, do you want
I
to,
saw
yeah,
that.
go first?
I had to look down from the
Yeah, because
Yeah.
screen.
I'm really
Yeah.
curious
Yeah.
about what Shadow has to say too. So, go
Okay.
for it, Shadow.
So I think you got all elements of it. Like I think a lot of times people are almost like forced to do that more. So it's interesting that like, you know, you can see how it's really kind of but I don't know. It's so challenging because you would have had young kids, right? Like you had young
Yeah.
kids at the time on top of all of it. So it's not
Yeah.
just you. Like like it's like I'm so privileged that it's just me and my husband and my dog. Like that it's just the three of us because like there are times where I'm really negative and I don't get stuff done and I just let it not be done. But if I had young kids running around, there's no way I would allow that stuff to happen, like dishes piling up or, oh, I haven't mopped this week again. I guess I'll do it next month. Like you can't do that with little kids. So like I think again, like you were just holding on and surviving. But something it did remind me of is a lot of times when I'm talking to people who have like let's say regular jobs, I'll hear a lot of people talking about how like everything's on their shoulders but they don't own the business. So, like,
Yes.
to me,
Like the
Yeah.
world is
that
not
always
gonna
comes out, like,
end.
or like, if by you taking a few days off, if that means the whole thing breaks, let it break because it can't be on you. Like, it
Yeah.
can't be. Like, again, if you're the owner of the business, then maybe. But even then, I think there's a lot of just like negativity surrounding it. But I hear so many people in my life who have these jobs where like that's the narrative is
Yeah.
that like if I don't then X, Y, and Z happens. And I'm always I feel bad because sometimes I'm not challenging them as like a mean thing because I do sincerely think that that would happen. I don't think they're
You're
making
trying
it
to
up.
give them perspective though, that
I'm
like
trying to
it's
and
not
I
your
yeah,
responsibility
it's
and
not your
it's
responsibility.
okay if that happens. I mean, I saw it so much and I felt that way too before my burnout and I see it so much
Mhm.
too, shadow like
Mhm.
this thing that like if I take time off then I love how you said, but you're not the owner. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. That's a good
Yeah,
perspective
so
shift.
it's interesting 'cause, like, this is the kind of stuff it was reminding me of, but then immediately I had to bring it back to, like, in a way, you were the owner of the family. So,
Mm.
I can also
Mm-hmm.
see that that was just, like, a natural you had
Yeah.
to. You
Yeah.
had to. Like, I don't know
So
what
Yeah.
is
else
it,
to
Shadow,
say,
are you
like
like trying to say like give yourself grace that the cheerleader was your strategy to, for lack of a better word, push through
Mhm.
then, but what you're
Yeah,
acknowledging now is you don't need the cheerleader now.
or
Or you
it
need
doesn't
it,
need to
but
be the
you can
main
say I don't need you now
star.
or I do need you. Like you can choose when to use the cheerleader, if that makes
I
sense.
think the nuance for me is the hard part, and the hard part for me is
Mm,
letting go of my own cheerleader's approval and
Mm.
that whole rah
mhm,
rah. You did it. You got it. Letting go of that and being okay, having no approval or what, no,
mm, mhm.
no external praise, except it's
It
Right.
internal.
was internal praise. I, this is interesting. I've been having this conversation a
Yeah.
lot lately with
Just
like,
accepting myself as this is me and I am imperfect and I
yes,
don't need this internal part of me telling me that I've done an outstanding and fabulous thing over and over again. So releasing that need for the praise. And I do understand that within the relationship that I had, the emotional relationship that I had, that was the only place where I was getting
we could get
the
it. You had to get it
positive.
from
Mhm,
yourself.
Yeah. But
mhm,
it's rewiring the need for that. It's I notice myself looking for it inside my own head. I'm like, no, I'm okay with the how today was for me, and I don't need anything more than that. And if I just scan back, I've had a perfectly lovely day, and I don't need any kind of icing on the top of that, or and
mm,
then you did
Mm.
this, and it's letting go of that, and it does make every day a lot easier.
mm.
But still, I find my brain going, yeah, but what was
Yeah,
special? Yeah, but what did you? What was the extra? What was the push through?
mhm.
And
And
almost
what's
look,
next?
yeah, almost
Yeah,
look at the hard parts as well. Like, what was the
mhm.
hardest bit that you can feel good that you did it?
Mhm.
And I don't want to spend my life scanning for the hard parts. I want to spend my life scanning for the joy. But I think
Mm.
so much was hard that the joy
You
came
had
out of
to
knowing
celebrate
that you
it.
got through that
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, that was the joy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think I've been saying this a lot recently. It's kind of a couple analogies. There's two sides to every coin, or the double-edged sword, or like
yeah.
whatever. But the thing
It's a
is that
paradox. Yeah.
too much of anything isn't good. Like you have to find the balance, right? So there
Mhm.
really is like two sides, right? Like we need our inner cheerleader to learn how to love ourselves, right? But then when the inner cheerleader goes too far, which is what you've expressed here, that's not a good thing either, right? So we need to find that balance between when we listen to the inner cheerleader or when we don't. And I think that's really interesting. And I mean, we've had this conversation many times before about the idea of toxic positivity, right? Like too
Yeah.
much positivity isn't a good thing because it's telling you to suppress I'm using quotation marks, everybody, negative feelings, to suppress them, that you're not supposed to feel them. We're supposed to feel all the things. And
Mhm.
I think it's kind of like similar with what you're saying about the inner cheerleader, right? It can help you be resilient, but if the inner cheerleader takes over too much, you're flipping over to the other side of the coin where it's actually not helping you be resilient because you're
Mhm.
not allowing yourself to just be and accept and also to move through emotions, perhaps.
Yeah, the regret I had was it kept me stuck in a
Yeah.
hard place with
Mhm.
no awareness that there could be anything better for me because I was
Mm-hmm.
thriving on the look what you did, you got through again. And I there are shit happens in life and there will always be days where you like, oh my God, I got through that and I did not yell at
Mhm.
anyone. I, kept my equilibrium through it all. And wow, that was good and that's positive because that's life. Life is a rich tapestry of all experiences. But
Mhm.
when the inner cheerleader is keeping you stuck in a hard place, wading through negativity and hard times and everything on your shoulders, and we do this in jobs. You're right, Shadow. We almost pride ourselves on it. It's when
Mm.
you're priding yourself on it, that's where it is. When you pride yourself on that being a big part of your identity, I
Oh,
think
you
is
just
when
took
it
the
goes
words out of my
off
mouth.
the rails. And yeah, because there is more for you. There is ease for you. There's a different place where you don't have to take everything on. There's a different place where you don't have to, at the
Mhm.
end of every day, examine the hard and go, I made it my way through that. And it's personal growth to understand and realize that. My regret is the cheerleader kept me there for so long.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think identity is such a difficult thing for so many people at any age, and I think we need to take the pressure off of the idea of identity, to be honest. Like Shadow, your regret was also about identity,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right? It was about like
yeah,
I'm the video game player, right? And like you hit on it too, Shadow, and you said like the workplace identity. Like if I take a couple days off, the whole workplace will fall apart. And instead of focusing on like what's my identity, I don't even really think we need to explore identity. I think we just need to get rid of the idea. This might sound a little weird, the idea of like identity, because it's more about like what are your values? What are your wants? What are your needs?
and
Mhm.
what's
You don't
my
need to know what
experience?
your identity is. Like
Yeah,
knowing what my identity is doesn't help me be more of a human being, but knowing
no,
what I value, knowing what integrity means to me, knowing what my needs are so that I can feel satisfied, fulfilled, happy, joyful. I think that's a much more worthwhile journey to go on or exploration to go on than to go, what's my identity? Because really what we're saying with identity, we've really confused this idea of identity. I think it's just all woven into stereotypes now. Like, I'm a
Mhm.
mom, I'm an aunt, I'm a video player, I'm a rower, I'm a nutritionist. I'm like that's not identity, right? Like that's not who you are. Like, yes, part of that makes you worthy, but it's not the only thing that makes you worthy, right? Like what makes you worthy of love and appreciation and relationships and health and all those things is just that you're a human being, really. So I think we need to like stop the discussion about identity and change it into some different words, like change the perspective, like change it into values, needs, wants, boundaries, emotional needs, like all of the things that I mean we've already talked about many of these on the podcast, but like if we could just get rid of that idea that I need to know what my identity is, because then what also happens, I find, and again, I'm speaking to like women over 35 here, is like when you lose that piece of identity. So like your kids move out of your house. Oh my God, I'm no longer a mom. You retire. Oh my gosh, I'm no longer my job. Or you have a burnout like me, and then you have to recreate yourself all over again. Or you leave your job like you did, Shadow, too. Like, oh my gosh, I'm no
Hmm.
longer a government worker. Oh my, like
Or even if you
it
just
can be really
age.
detrimental. Or just
Yeah,
age. Oh my God, I'm not 20 years old anymore. Oh my God, I'm not pretty anymore. Like
yeah,
let's
yeah,
stop those discussions, right? Like,
yeah,
or stop that pressure. Can we just get rid of this idea of identity altogether and like maybe break it down into what it actually is or what we're actually looking for? So the cheerleader was almost like your identity for a while,
yeah,
and it
it
saved you
was.
and it protected you and it
Yes,
helped you push through. But now
yeah,
it's almost like you're letting go of the cheerleader identity and you're going, wait a minute,
yeah,
what do I need to like? I love how you said, Louise, like the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I did these things and that's great and I feel good today.
yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
and I think you're absolutely right. When we focus on the identity of, mother, worker, indispensable worker,
Mm-hmm.
youth, beauty, whatever it is, being cool. When we focus on that, we're just scrambling around looking for the box that we want to put ourselves in. And we're actually,
Mm-hmm.
all of us, unique and so much more than any of these boxes. Yeah, and what we're grasping is the least interesting part of ourselves.
Yes, and we're also like you said it too, Louise. Like I think when we focus on those things, we feel stuck.
Yes.
We feel worthless because we go, what's my purpose? I also don't like this discussion of like, what's my purpose, right? Like we feel stuck. What's my purpose? We feel lost and we question ourselves. And if we could get rid of this idea of identity, maybe we wouldn't feel stuck as much. Maybe we wouldn't feel lost as much. Maybe we
Yeah.
wouldn't feel unworthy as much.
And I think it's so much easier for women if we can let go of a lot of this because the world, being a patriarchy, is set up so that we can never win. Like we will never
Hmm.
win, even if we really are cool Kate Moss in the 90s, heroin chic and winning all the time. She still is going to age, and there's all this conversation about what does she look like now? What does Pamela Anderson look like now? What has she done with her hair?
Hmm.
What has she done with
Hmm.
her makeup? We will never win. We will never win whilst this is always the focus. And
Hmm.
so letting go, yeah, and for me, letting go of my addiction to the praise from the cheerleader for getting through,
Hmm.
that has been the rewiring, the tough part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would caution a little bit here though, because I also think that like some people are just trying to survive. Right?
yeah,
So they don't have time to like really get as deep as we do, right? And so like to move the
Mm.
conversation from identity to values can be really hard for some people. Like, it's one thing to say, "Oh, I have this inner cheerleader." It's a different thing to say, "I like to be positive. I like to be a hard worker. I try to not let things get me down," or things like that. But it's I think for a lot of people, like, they're just trying to get through day to day,
yeah,
and they don't have time for exploration or how they mentally feel or like, "Oh, what is my story? What is my narrative?" They're just looking for like, they're so tired at the end of the day that they work so hard, they come home, they have home responsibilities, they go to bed, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, and that's their
yeah,
life. So if this is hard for you to like really get to your values versus your identity, like that's got to have some grace too.
Sure, there should be grace, but I disagree a little bit. This is where Shadow and I
Mhm.
disagree, which is great. This
Mhm.
is the point, like different perspectives.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but you know that saying, like wherever you go, there you are. You
Mhm.
can't stop your brain from the spiral. So even
Mhm.
though people, what you're saying is like rinse, wash, repeat. when you go to bed at night, most people, even when they're in that place, their brain is still asking those questions and their brain is still judging themselves. And I do think
Mhm.
it is worth it to explore those things so that you can feel more grounded as a human being. And it doesn't have to be like, you've heard me say this before, deep work doesn't always have to be hard work. Like, but it is worth like listening to your inner monologue. Maybe it's something as simple as what we talked about at the beginning of today's session, was journaling. I think that every human being has deserves to explore themselves. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes like life is really hard and you're pushing through, like Louise, you had to push through when you were there. But I hope that
Mhm.
everybody finds a moment in their life where they can like explore themselves and connect to themselves. And I think it's a huge part of emotional health and mental health to even just give yourself 5 minutes a day to connect to yourself, and it will make your mental health and your emotional health better. And we have
Mhm.
to choose that, and we have to like talk about it more in society too. So
Mhm.
even if it's difficult, just even 2 minutes a day, even 1 minute of quiet a day can actually make a difference. And we need to help ourselves be emotionally healthy and mentally healthy, no matter what our socioeconomic
Mhm.
status is, no matter what difficulties we're going through. We need to give ourselves that gift
Mhm.
of 5 minutes a
Mhm.
day.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just trying to create space for people who might be listening who are thinking, well, that's mighty fine for you, but this is the only break I've had in a month while they're listening to this podcast or whatever.
Great,
Yeah.
because this
Um,
podcast could do that for you, right? Like I hope they're hearing things and going, "Oh, I have an
mhm.
inner cheerleader too, like Louise, right?" So there
Mhm.
are
Mhm.
ways that we can do it. I think Louise wants to say something. So what are you going to
Yeah.
say, Louise?
No, I totally, it resonates with me that it was necessary, especially in the early days. And this is the challenging part when you're in it, you
Mm.
can't see it,
Yeah.
you don't have time to look at it. For me, I'm on the other side of it,
Yeah.
and I'm
Beautiful.
here going, I've got this regret I want to relieve. I had this part of me that I relied on so hard, and all those years I could not see it, did not know it, and never examined it. But I
Mm.
now recognize the regret comes from it left me emotionally stunted and unable to find a path out of the situation I was in. And I
Mhm.
guess that is the paradox there too, that
Yeah.
when you need that part the most is when you can't examine why. And later, when you
Mhm.
can examine why, you get to process the regret of maybe what was cut off for you whilst you were relying so heavily on that part. And both of
Mhm.
those are okay and normal and coping and about growth and change. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and I agree with you. I felt that way too before my burnout. So is that kind of what you're trying to say, Shadow? Like when you're in it, you can't.
Yeah, or even just like I think I was also thinking about like shortcuts, which I know sounds strange, but like when you're introducing yourself to a new group of people,
Hmm.
right? It's so much easier to say I'm
Mm.
this and like those are like and you start listing off identity things. It's much harder to say, "Hi, nice to meet you. I value vulnerability." Like that's such
Yeah,
a
but I mean, like,
weird
there's a
way to
time and a
like yeah.
place. Yeah,
Oh,
you're right. But
totally.
there's a time
That's
and a place
that's
for
more what
everything.
I
Like,
was yeah.
I'm not suggesting that you do that, sure, because we still have these labels on ourselves. But I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like I would be doing, speaking of values, I feel like I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't say, I see you out there if you're struggling, because I've been there before, where you
Mhm.
don't know you're in it and you think your job is the most important thing and you think all these things, right? Like, I see you, but I'd be doing a disservice if I said that's okay. Because
Yeah.
my like
True.
mission in life is to show people that there are really, really simple things you can do to break those patterns and those habits in your life, that you don't have to be this way. And if you continue to be that way, odds are you'll have a burnout. And I
Mhm.
don't ever want anybody to experience, any woman to experience what I experienced. I mean, I was paralyzed. My body
Yeah.
was physically paralyzed for 8 hours, right? And so I'd be doing a disservice if I said, okay, yeah, I get that it's tough and there's nothing you can do, because I think there's always something you can do, even if it's 30 seconds of a brain fitness move, of a neurological reprogramming move that's 30 seconds, or even if it's 1 minute of quiet, there's always something that you can do to start to get yourself out of it. And yeah, so Louise, you've done the work. I've done the work. I know Shadow, you have too. And we can look back on it, right? And sometimes I wish that I had heard something like this podcast or gotten advice like what I can give to people now. And that's all I'm trying to say, I guess, is like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know. Maybe it's the inner cheerleader in me going, now you have to fight for yourself. I don't know.
Right.
Come full circle now. I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking now.
If I had to think of a shortcut, and not in a situation where you're introducing yourself to people, or for me, the shortcut at the end of the day is just sit down and how do I feel? The inner cheerleader was preventing me from connecting to my feelings and my
For
emotions.
sure.
And so if for 5 minutes, sit down and how do I feel? And if every single evening you're like, I feel like shit, I feel exhausted, I am unhappy, then you can ask yourself, what is keeping me in this place? And then
Right.
maybe, like for me, you have the awareness, I've got my foot on my own neck because I love the fact that I'm cheering myself through this, even
Yeah.
though it's
Yeah.
relentlessly hard. So for me, the
Mhm.
shortcut is, how do I feel? And that's where I get the message, and that's where I get the message about whether it's been a good day or a bad day. And that's also where I'm getting the message that, oh, it's okay. I feel okay, even without the praise of the cheerleader at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
I don't have to look for the bad thing or the hard thing that I got through. I don't have to look for where I need to praise myself and big up myself at the end of the day. I'm okay without it. So,
Yeah.
It's okay to feel any feeling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're saying.
How do I feel is
you ask yourself
shortcut.
without judgment or expectations, how do I feel?
Yeah.
And I would also say, for some people, it can be really hard to answer that question the first time you ask yourself that.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know how I feel. And that's why at the beginning of this podcast and every workshop I teach, whether it's in person, online, every workshop I teach, I ask everybody, how do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10? Because that can be a really good starting point. If you're like, I can't come up with a word, I don't know how to feel, but then there's the scale, you go, I'm probably a 5. And if you can't answer why you're a 5, that's okay. But you're tapping into that rational side of your brain. You keep asking yourself at the end of every day, okay, I'm still a 5. Okay, I've been a 5 for a week. How do I get to a 6? And eventually you'll start to grow the muscle of being able to connect yourself and figure out how you feel. But you can make it into a number first, because you can easily go, I'm a 5, I'm a 6, I'm a 7. And then the next step is asking yourself why you're a 5 or a 6 or a 7. That can be a starting point too if you find it really hard to answer the question. Because you know what our brain always does when you ask someone how they are and you ask yourself, fine, I'm fine, everything's fine.
Yeah. And the other aspect of picking a number is, for women, so many of our uncomfortable emotions are frowned upon, like smile more. You'd be pretty if you smile, and she's chill, that's why she's cool. We have to put up with a lot. We're not allowed to be angry or sad, or the overriding feeling for me was resentment that I had to come to terms with. And but I had been programmed not to feel that, to keep giving as a woman, keep giving to your kids and keep giving to your marriage. We're programmed not to have these emotions. So picking a number is a helpful way of overriding that social programming that we get until we're able to go, I actually think I'm really angry and resentful. And we have the capacity to accept that in ourselves and cope with that. Yeah.
When I was going through my burnout, someone said to me, I can't remember who it was, said, at the end of the day, just say to yourself, I've done everything I can do today, and that's okay. And that can kind of add on to like, I'm a 5 and I've done everything I can do today, and it's okay to be a 5, and that's okay. And now I'm done for the day. I'm allowed to feel however I feel. You're allowed to feel however you feel. Yeah. Okay, well, I want to thank Louise so much for coming today. I want to give you the last word. Tell the listeners out there where they can find you? Do you want to drop an Instagram? Do you have anything fun going on in your business or your life that you want to share? Please let us know how we can get in touch with you.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram at louise.card.nutrition. I also have a website, louisecardnutrition.com. And I work with women in midlife who are coping with all of these feelings. And my work is holistic. So I am trained in nutrition, but I am also meeting women exactly in this place where we're meeting each other as whole people with all of our emotions, with all of our parts. Because working with women in midlife, we're going through our hormonal change, and change is hard. We're changing our identity. It's the whole picture. So that's the meaty work that I like to do. And I also am passionate about nutrition for supporting your body through perimenopause and into menopause as well. So that's where you can find me.
I'll drop a little note too. Louise and I have put together a little mini program as well that talks about nutrition and mental and emotional health. It's called the 10-minute overwhelm solution. And it's literally just a 40-minute video and then a couple resources to get you started on that baby step that we were talking about. So we'll put the link for that in the notes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for being here, Louise. Thank you so much, Shadow, for being your wonderful self. I appreciate both of you so much. And as we close off this season, I'm doing something a little different. It's a bit more of a visualization than 3 breaths. So I invite you to stay with us just for the next 2 minutes to give yourself that little 2 minutes of reflection. Come on to the front edge of your seat, everybody. Put your feet on the floor. Unless you're driving, be safe driving. I always say that because I always listen to podcasts when I'm driving. But come on to the front of your seat. Put your feet flat on the floor. If you want, you can put your hand on your heart. And I just want you to feel the points of contact that you have with the earth. If your feet on the floor, maybe it's your bum on a chair. If you want to lie down, maybe it's your head on a pillow. But there are certain points of contact that are sinking deeper into the earth. And I want you to take a big breath in and a long breath out and just sink down into those points of contact. Feel your feet on the floor, your bum on the chair. Maybe it's your arms on the armrest. Those points of contact are gravity holding you on to the face of the planet. Gravity will never let you fly away. So take another big breath in and a long breath out and sink down into the palm of the earth's hand. You are always supported just by being a human being on the face of this planet. And that means that you are worthy of being here. Because the planet wants you here, nature wants you here, the world around you wants you here. Take one last big breath in and a big breath out. Feeling gravity supporting you. And know that you are worthy just because you exist. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you so much. And we will see you, hear you, be with you, connect with you, all the things in the next one. And if you appreciate this podcast, the best thing you can do to support us is tell a friend, leave us a 5-star review, leave us a written review. And of course, you can always support us through our Buzzsprout support and sponsorship link as well. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.
Bye. This episode of Let's Relieve Regret was produced by Shadow Ball and Victoria Muir-Bercia.
Editing by me, Victoria Muir-Bercia.
We are an independent podcast supported by you, our listeners.
If you think this podcast sends a valuable message, you had an aha moment, or learned something new about yourself, help us realize our goal of reaching as many listeners as possible.
We encourage you to take action and support us right now by choosing one of the following options.
You can easily support us by
following us on Instagram at relieve.regret.
Tell 2 friends.
Leave a 5-star review on whatever app you're listening to us on.
Leave a tip at coffee.com/Let's Relieve Regret podcast. That's ko-fi.com/Let's Relieve Regret podcast.
Join our conversations in the Facebook group, Let's Relieve Regret Podcast.
Find all this information, all the links, and more in the podcast notes. Okay, bye.
Bye.